Welcome to the Dawg Chug. Roger, how's it going? We're down.
Andy, it's going great. Listen, today I went to an audiologist and had my hearing tested. And I'm sitting in a little booth, and the guy puts the headphones on me and gives me a little buzzer. Felt like I was on a game show. And he's like, when you hear the noise, hit the button. So I'm sitting there. He opens the door up. He's like, let me show you how that button works. I said, well, I know how it works. I just haven't heard anything yet. I lost 60% of my hearing in both ears, Andy.
Wow. So how much did it cost to go see your audiologist?
Well, actually, it's going through my insurance, and because of construction and how I lost my hearing, and because it now hampers me to do my job, my loss of hearing, it's going to be covered for me. So
that's great, but the fact of the matter is, the insurance is going to be, distributed to everyone else. You just took a test today that was completely unnecessary because anyone that watches the Dawg Chug would already know that you can't hear shit.
Do you think I should pay for it out of pocket?
No, I don't think you should have even taken the test. Everyone knows you can't hear anything. So it was a complete waste of time.
Will you tell now I got one more step before they actually make them. So I need somebody to verify. I'm going to play this tape then.
So wait, when you get these hearing aids, that means you're going to be able to hear?
I'll be able to hear, but now I don't know what I'm going to do on Dawg Chug because they're actually the hearing aids that go inside, they're not hearing like audio, like amplifiers. These are actual. So I don't know. I can't put earbuds in. So I'm probably going to have to buy the muffs.
I think it's going to be great. Even if you just play it through your laptop. My buddy has them. And when he got them, he could hear everything. He was just like you. What? So I'm really excited for this.
What'd you say?
So we're down a member. Unfortunately, Ross couldn't make it to the Dawg Chug today. Yeah. He needed a night off, well deserved. But unfortunately, we miss out on his producing skills. So we apologize to the viewers if this show isn't to the polish that you would typically expect.
Yeah, it's not up to standard. It's Ross's fault that it's not up to Ross's standards.
But Roger and I worked hard to make sure this is going to be a fantastic episode anyway. So with that, why don't we get it started? Let's go right to the Dawg Chug update.
All right. I'm going to start us off. The Factory of Sadness has moved into the next phase of torture for Browns fans as clips of OTA surfaced today on Twitter showing some amazing throws from guys wearing shorts and giving minimal effort. This enthusiasm will continue to heat up until the beginning of October when we're 1-4. And Twitter will agree the Cleveland Browns are once again garbage. We'll shift to what we can get from Myles Garrett, Joel Bitonio, and Nick Chubb, all while Chops will do spaces saying who should be our next head coach.
Oh,
where'd that come from?
Not sound like fun.
No.
All right. Well, it's been a string of sad Wednesdays just before the Dawg Chug previous few weeks. It started off when the Cavs were eliminated by the New York Knicks. And then we saw the Guardians lose on Wednesdays to the Yankees, the Tigers, and then 2 against the White Sox. And let me tell you, trying to do this stupid podcast after your heart's been ripped out a little is actually really tough. So we're happy to report the Bats came alive. And the Guardians today won 12-8. And so, yes. Judge Sherry, I ask you, will the Dawg Chug feed off that energy and be extra amazing tonight?
No.
Damn it. Well, I guess I'll continue anyway. Jim Schwartz today wore jersey number 51 in a recent OTAs and at a recent one, I guess not today. And when asked about it, he said he's wearing Jordan Kanaskis as a reward for practicing the right way. While we respect celebrating the hard workers and trying to get everyone to be on the same page, do you think you can pick out a player we've actually heard of instead of one that I can't pronounce?
Jacob would be very offended. That's his 27th favorite player on the defense.
Jesus. I let him down.
All right. Anthony Schwartz spent today's OTA session that was open to the media on the bikes. Man, this guy can't catch a break. It's almost like Schwartz went on Dylan Mulvaney's YouTube channel, decked out in pride gear, and offering to be Dylan's vice president of diversity, equality, and inclusion. And God's up there in heaven with a giant red mega hat on. And by the way, just want to point out, Dawg Chug is pride and trans friendly, so feel free to include us in the growing list of companies that are being banned, because it'd be nice if Twitter actually mentioned the Dawg Chug without it being Rogers' long tweets.
Okay, Tony Grossley pointed out from observing at OTAs that the Browns are using much more pre-snap motion, and he believes the offense is going to look a lot different this season. What the hell, Stefanski? You ever hear of the phrase, if it's not broke, don't fix it? You had that offense humming that one quarter against Washington, like when the Dawg Chug does a sock puppet bit. Just keep doing the exact same thing. We're due.
Yes, we are. Well said, Roger.
We're due.
All right. Deshaun Watson admitted last offseason was a bit of a weird situation, and there was a lot going on. But having a year under his belt, he regained his confidence in getting back to being Deshaun Watson. Good for you, Deshaun. We're rooting for you here in the Dawg Chug. And on an unrelated note, to all the dads out there, you're going to want to go ahead and deactivate your teenage daughter's Instagram accounts. And that is the Dawg Chug updates.
Wow. That was a good one.
I could tell because you were like,
we're missing where's Ross? Oh, that's right. He's not here.
Keeping the energy high in the Dawg Chug. That's why we are so
I tell you, we need like big band music after that.
All right. Let's do that. All right. For our next bit, I don't know if you guys have heard, but there's a player out there that might be able to help the
Who
Browns.
hasn't heard?
Well, you know, some of our guests, some of our fans, you know, don't really read Twitter all that much. Maybe they don't know, but there's a guy out there, DeAndre Hopkins, that a lot of people are speculating whether the Browns should bring him on or if we don't need it. So, Roger and I, we created a list of pros and cons. You believe that we should bring him in. I'm kind of on the other side of the fence. But because we like to judge on this show, let's bring the great Judge Sherry on the Dawg Chug. Welcome to the Dawg Chug. And because one judge isn't enough judges, let's also bring on Lysandra back to the Dawg Chug. Welcome to the Dawg Chug.
All right.
And as we go through our pros and cons, you guys can react and see what you think. So with that, Roger, why don't you give us your first pro?
All right. There's a first one for the Browns have too many wide receivers as it is with Cooper, DPJ, Moore, Tillman, Bell, and Goodwin. So it only makes sense to add another established player since 4 of those guys will probably be awful.
Who wants to go first?
But you're probably right, Roger. Because I haven't heard of half of the roster of the wide receivers there. So honestly, if Hopkins comes in, somebody's going to have to be on the chopping block to free up some space. And I think it's going to be, honestly, it's probably, there's a few people they can cut to save money, but I think they're going to save the most money by cutting or trading DPJ.
Don't say that! Why would you say that? Why? Get out!
Wow. Violent.
I am DPJ all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
mean,
Younger.
Hopkins is a hot commodity, man. I don't
But
know.
he is younger. He has less
He
miles.
is
on that
younger,
engine.
but man, Hopkins had a season with no drops.
Come on. He's saving his best for his year of this year.
Jerry, if we did and DeAndre Hopkins, who would be the odd man out?
Anybody?
Anybody
Well,
else?
it won't be DPJ because they drafted DPJ. It wouldn't be DPJ.
Well, but the reality is you could probably get a 4th round pick for DPJ and you know,
Andy, pump the brakes.
I'm just explaining the other side. If you're going to replace him with DeAndre Hopkins, then that means you're not going to re-sign DPJ to a big contract extension this offseason. So you might want to take what you can get. But I agree with Sherry. I say keep DPJ.
Yeah. Go blue.
All right. Well, Roger, that was a very
Roger.
that was a compelling reason
All
that
right.
we should sign DeAndre Hopkins. But I'm going to give you a con of why it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
So DeAndre Hopkins was on the Texans when Watson was a bad boy. Now, we're not saying he influenced Deshaun into committing all the alleged acts, but between him and Jordan Atkins and the hijinks that possibly went on in that Texans locker room, probably best to pass on more, adding more of his former teammates. So, what do you guys think about that?
That's a tough one because there's so much that kind of goes into that whole situation and who's going after him. But, I don't even remember that lawyer's name. But then he kind of has I think he's neighbors with the Texans owner. So there's a whole bunch of dynamic that goes into that. So, no, I don't see an issue with it. I see bringing Hopkins in addition to having Akins with Watson is going to increase his comfort level. And I think the organization is going to try to make him as comfortable as possible to make the season as successful as possible. So.
All right. Sherry, you have any thoughts on this one?
I don't really care.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Let's share, everybody. Roger,
right.
do you have any more pros?
Okay, that was Hopkins played for a shitty Texans team that can barely make it to the dance and then played like crap. Then he went to the Cardinals, who went back to being a terrible franchise. So he's going to fit in perfect with Cleveland. Unlike, say, a guy like Thornhill, who is coming off of a Super Bowl high and has to be asking himself, oh, my God, why did my agent push me on Cleveland? It's time to call Drew Rosenhaus.
Yeah, what do you guys think about that one?
There's a lot going on there. Why don't you go first, Sherry?
Roger, I'm going to sip on that.
I would sip on it, too. I did.
I'm going to chug on it because that was like 15 seconds of time that I can't get back because that was just a lot.
We just throw words together.
All right.
Plus, I was parched.
All right.
But, yeah, that was a lot. I don't know.
But by the time I got to the end of it, you're like, what did it start with?
My attention span went way out that way somewhere. So,
all right. Well, let's move on to the next con because I think I can convince you guys right here. So Hopkins is going to be 31 years old this season. And 31, everyone knows, is when the brain starts slipping.
Oh, wow.
Now, just look at our current president, who is doing a fantastic job until he hit 31 in 1973, and he started having issues reading the teleprompter.
Okay, you kind of got me with the age thing because honestly, 31 and what wide receiver years is getting up there. I would have to say that's a fair argument. That is a very fair argument because I think the average career length in the NFL for a player is like 4 years. So, wide receivers, they don't last. I mean, I can't say that. I would have to say running backs have the shorter careers. But yeah, after you hit the 30s, you start hitting that slope. So maybe they see something that we don't, but that is definitely a valid concern is the age.
All right. Sherry, you have any thoughts on this one? Are you sipping?
All I could say is if he was a woman having a baby, it would be geriatric pregnancy. So he needs to sit his ass down.
Wow. All right. Judge Sherry telling it like it is. Roger, I think I'm winning this one. It's time for your next pro.
Oh, okay. You know what? He might be too busy eating hamburgers to accept the invitation we offered to Dawg Chug, but anyone that shares the initials with David Hasselhoff is a star in the making, and he's going to continue having an incredible career well into his 60s. I don't care how old Hopkins is. He's got that Hoff energy and needs to be in Cleveland today.
You had me at the Hoff.
I heard he's big in Germany.
That's how you pull ahead in a race.
Hell yeah, you have me at Hasselhoff, man. That is actually one of my bucket list people to have a beer with.
There you go.
Who else is
Hey.
a bucket list person to have a beer with?
William Shatner.
Okay.
Hey, wow.
Charles Barkley, Samuel L. Jackson.
Good list.
Nice list.
Good list.
Really good list.
Yeah.
Wow.
You better hurry up with Shatner though.
Yeah, I know. He's kind
Yeah.
of getting up there. I
Yeah, he's
actually
gonna
met
get
him.
beamed up.
I met him at a Comic-Con. He's a cool ass dude.
Oh, I met Gary Busey.
All right, let's
Hey,
not.
I wrote a baseball article about Shatner.
It's true. You did. All right. Well, Roger, it seems like you swayed them, but I got it right here. If there's one thing Browns fans love doing after the season goes to crap, it's playing fantasy football. And we're all guilty of overdrafting players from our favorite team, the Cleveland Browns, because we're all morons. If we add one more prominent skill player to this roster, how the hell will any of us possibly be able to predict who's going to catch the damn touchdowns? So pass on Hopkins and have a chance to not finish last in your fantasy football.
Why do you keep giving me these great arguments, man? You kind of have a point there. It'll be hard to tell who to choose during those first few weeks, but I'm gonna have to still disagree with that, just because I personally think the hardest team to pick for whenever you're doing fantasy is anybody. Like, my off limits team is the Patriots, because Belichick changes up his game plan so much that you don't even know who's going to get the ball or who's going to be cut the next day. So, yeah.
Nice.
But
Sherry, anything on this one?
I'm going all the way AI, so I'm going to let that handle it for me.
You were letting your artificial intelligence run your fantasy league.
Yes.
Wow. Jerry, I was going to ask you to be on my fantasy team, and now I'm not doing it. That's pathetic.
You're the auto drafter.
No, usually not, but.
Wow. All right. Roger, you got one more, right?
No.
I think you skipped number 2.
Oh, did I? Let me go back and take a look here. How did that happen?
I don't know.
I did. How about
there you
that?
go.
He might cost a lot of money, but the salary cap is a complete hoax designed by media companies to keep fans distracted and create the illusion of parity. Ask yourself, why are so many teams always over the cap? The NFL is a big scam. It's not our money. The vaccine is just putting a microchip in us so the government knows what bathroom we're going in. And the Browns will be better with Hopkins, so it needs to make it happen.
Yes to all of that. No, honestly, I don't know how do you go from that to vaccine to that back again, but
I have a question.
I'm going to have to go with that. But go ahead, Sherry.
Which bathroom is he going to be using?
Roger?
No, Hopkins.
I don't know. It's the Dawg Chug exclusive. We're gonna get to the bottom of this. What bathroom he uses. We'll report next week.
Yeah.
Or we'll just get the he got the vaccine, so we could just get the feed from the government.
Yeah, easily.
I agree with that salary cap bit, though. I wouldn't put it past any of those owners in the league paying some of those players under the table outside of the cap. They're just, it's like fake play money. It just seems like to me. So.
Okay. Well, I think you guys are swayed, but I've got one final con, and I know I'm going to win you over. Save the best for last. If you think that Nick Carn tweets are annoying today, just wait until after we sign DeAndre Hopkins. We'll have more Browns fans deleting their Twitter accounts than when Elon bought the company.
Real fans, stick to the game plan. Damn it. I don't care if you're going to leave because of the Carnes tweets. Leave. Leave. I'd rather have real fans that actually stick around for the long poetry and stuff. It's thought-provoking and inspiring stuff sometimes. Sometimes I need that when I'm feeling like shit about being a Browns fan, when I'm getting talked shit to all the time at home. So
whoa,
I need that motivation.
Right
Jerry?
now, Nick's not getting a lot of inside Browns fan hate. Like you know what I mean? Like everybody right now is on the same page. Get Hopkins, Watson's got a, they're all on the OTA watching the clips and on the high right now.
Go hard or
So,
go home, man. Get
Nick's
Hopkins.
not fighting like he usually has to do with them.
I want more iambic pentameter from Nick. I want it longer and I want it harder.
Well, we love you, Nick, and we're just joking. Keep fighting the good fight.
Man.
You represent us all out there. Oh, so I guess based on these arguments, who won? Are you going with the pro or the con?
I'm going with the pro. You had me at the Hoff.
See, the Hoff. The Hoff won it.
Yep, the Hoff did it for me.
I wish I had a picture of him.
I'm gonna have to go with the con.
Yes.
I'm gloom and doom, and usually, logically, gloom and doom always wins. So I'm going cons.
All right. Well, Ed always claims that you always go with whatever I say, so I appreciate you sticking with that.
Your dog is obviously trying to change your mind.
Right, the dog knows. Chippy knows.
That's Moses.
Oh, Moses knows.
Like, what the hell are you doing, Mom?
We are down Ross, so we're going to move on to bring on our featured guest tonight. But would either of you ladies like to stay on, or is it time to call this one?
Yeah, we got.
Sorry, I'll shut my dog up.
I can slip away because I got some heathens that I got to attend to as well,
All right.
and you know how that goes. So,
All right.
I'm here. The dog shut up.
Coming on the Dog Chug as always. We love your takes. You're amazing. You're
I
welcome.
love you guys anytime. I
Lysandra,
told you I'm your stunt guest, so
You're
if all
our-
else fails, just call me.
You're our NBA insider when the finals start.
Oh
You gotta-
yeah,
we'll
I can
drop the
probably
link.
report. Maybe I can
Yeah.
do some reporting of the chaos. I don't know. You're not gonna
Yes,
see my ass
any
downtown.
reporting you send us, Dog Chug plays.
Yeah, I know,
That's
right? I'll
cool.
be your correspondent from the Pepsi, or what is it?
That'd be
Ball Arena
awesome.
now, Pepsi Center. Yeah, I'm actually about 7 miles away from that. So,
Oh, just stand outside with an umbrella, even if it's not raining, with a microphone.
I
It'd be
know.
awesome.
Doing the selfie. I'm here at the Ball Arena, Dawg Chug. But thank you again for having me. You guys are
Anytime.
always awesome.
Thank you for coming.
All right, love you guys.
Love you. Good night.
All right, Cherry, are you sticking with us?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
then with that, let's bring on our guest.
She's a vampire. She just woke up about a half hour ago.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Welcome back to the Dawg Chug. Eddie, how's it going tonight?
I'm good. What's up?
How did that go? Were you swayed in either direction on DeAndre Hopkins?
I was swayed on DeAndre Hopkins when they said there was interest, so Roger wins that by default.
So you're
And-
willing to roll with the more annoying Nick Carnes tweets?
We're gonna get him regardless. So
That is true.
the
That's
Browns
true.
can be 0-10, and he's still gonna tweet out optimism. I love it.
Eddie, if the Browns are 0-10, I'll wake up on week 11 and swear by Christ the Browns are going to win that day. I do it I do it to myself. I did it for 16 weeks.
We all do.
Yeah.
The
Well,
glory of being the Browns fans.
Welcome back to the Dawg Chug. How is this offseason treating you? What's been going
Yeah.
on with the podcast? Give us an update.
It's boring right now. It's boring. So I don't like to talk about things that there's nothing to talk about. So I'm not going to have a whole show dedicated to Myles Garrett not being in OTAs. I really don't care
I
what
love you.
from there. Sure, great. He's a leader of the team and new pieces coming in and all that. If he's not there, it's not mandatory. I really don't care. What he does with his time is on him. As long as he's there when
Amen, man. I love it.
next week they're in mandatory mini camp, right?
Yes.
Yeah, next week. So he'll be there then. We'll see him then. But I don't want to talk about things that are slow. So it's really hard to write too. So there's not much to write about at this moment in time. So I've just sort of taken a step back and just been chilling,
Nice.
golfing a lot.
You gotta like go to nonsense. Just don't
Yeah.
try and talk actual sports. Just try and make fun of people that talk actual sports. That's the Dawg Chug way.
Yeah. Well, we got the right nonsense, bases covered on that. So that gig's over. I know what you're talking about, Eddie. I didn't write anything for a month because there's like nothing to. I'm not just going to write a bunch of words. Just you're right, man. I applaud it. Tell us what else is going on.
I golf a lot. I've golfed quite a bit in the past few weeks, so it's good and bad. It's a very love-hate game. It's very fickle.
Do you drink beers when you golf?
Not really. No, it messes me up too much.
You would not want me on your.
No, you can drink with me. Like there's times I will have a beer or two, but I can't like drink heavily because A, I get dehydrated, and B, I play like shit. So can I say shit? I forget.
You sure can.
Hey, Eddie, tell us about the thing that you're doing where everybody will get to meet 216.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I talked about that a little bit on my last show I did a couple
Yeah,
weeks
ago. I saw it. So, yeah, share it with our people.
So what we're going to do, I have the logos and everything. So I think I'm going to start next week. Like I said, I didn't really want a podcast. I really wasn't into it. But it's sort of like a podcast. So it's going to be a mini series called Meet the Squad. Each week I'll interview one individual from Network 216. We'll get to know them outside of sports and other sports as well that they, enjoy. But outside of sports, because we always talk Browns and we talk Guardians, and we talk Cavs and whatever else. I talk wrestling. But see what makes us who we are and what makes the network so cool. And we have some awesome graphics that what is her name? Sarah. I can't think of her last name.
Yeah.
She's amazing. She's made a bunch of the graphics for the network. So yeah, that's gonna be coming soon. Meet the Squad. It'll be like 10-15 minutes, 1 or 2 a week, depending on schedules for everyone. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun to get to further know everyone.
Sweet, man. Sweet. What was I just gonna ask? Oh, I read through I read through the list that you gave us, like some of the things that you're going to be doing in the interviews. And, man, you have some really good questions there. You're really going to get in, get to know us you had some great questions there. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for it to do it and to watch. And, when we sit in a chat for we've been in there almost a year now, and we know each other, but you still really don't know each other, Right. So I'm really looking forward to doing it and watching it. It's going to be great.
Thanks. Yeah, it is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to know more about Ross because he's been doing this show for over a year now, and I don't know anything about it.
I also don't know much about Ross. Ross is like the type that just like comes in, says 1 or 2 little things, and then he's out. And then
he's an enigma. You get to a cookout and he's leaving.
What's that type of goodbye? The Irish goodbye? Is that what that is? Or
yes.
the wrong country?
So I'm going to put the pressure on you. You have to crack that code. You got to get him to open up on Meet the Squad.
We've been trying, and
I got it.
Okay.
What about there's a lot of optimism right now with I think we had a pretty good free agency. We had a pretty good draft, and everyone's going crazy over stupid OTAs. But what is the Eddie feeling on the Browns offseason? Did they do what they needed to do? Where you at with this team?
Yeah, I think they did more than enough. I really wasn't expecting the trade of Moore, so that was for Moore, that was cool. The trade for Zadarius Smith, that was awesome. I did not expect that. I don't think anyone expected that. I mean, someone did. There's a couple people that did say that, and they brought up, hey, I said this back before the draft, blah, blah, blah. And then it was sort of like pushed under the rug and dismissed. So that was cool. I think they addressed a lot of needs. The defensive line on paper looks a lot better. The secondary, the safeties look a lot better. Hopefully Thornhill is a better fit than what JJ3 was not for us. And Friday, thanks to JJ3, we get however many $1 million back because of, we released him. But I think they did a lot of good things. The draft, I'm not really a draft guy. I've read and listened to a lot of people talk about these guys. But the receiver, you want to make Watson happy. So Tillman makes sense, especially if, for example, DPJ plays himself out of Cleveland this year, has another good season, and then he prices himself out. Or if Hawkins comes in, So we'll see what happens, but I think that's good. I like the upside of the rest of the guys that they have. The McGuire kid, I think I was reading. I think it was Jacob. It was Jacob or someone. I forget if it was Jacob or if he was talking about it in the group chat. But I read someone's article and then saw him talking about that again. That should be something fun once he his chops on him. He doesn't have to. None of them have to do anything this year. Like they can come in and play a little bit. They don't have to do a thing. So in years past, we needed these guys to come in, be a starter from day one, and fans, of course, equate starter to all pro. That's not the case because there's only 11 spots on offense for all pro, and so I'm real happy with it. I'm real excited. I do like that they're still not getting credit because they have to go out and earn the credit. They have a fairly favorable schedule in a sense to start the season. They're at home for the first 5 weeks, or for the first 5 weeks, or 6 weeks, whatever. So they have the bye week in week 5. But I have a lot of optimism. And then, of course, OTAs, that's what we react to. That's what we have right now. There's nothing else going. And, yes, they're all in shorts and helmets. Nothing too, crazy. But some of the throws that Watson let off today, Goodwin and more, optimism. There's a lot of optimism. But I won't get too far ahead. I won't allow myself to get too far ahead. Do I think they can win the division? Sure. Why I predict them to win the division? Probably not. Playoffs, yes, I think absolutely they can make the playoffs. Division, I will, and maybe I'll switch by August once I see more. I don't think so though, because I think that would set myself up for a little bit of failure if they didn't win and they got in. I'd still be bummed because I predicted them to win the division. So
who obviously, Pittsburgh's eliminated, but then who between Baltimore and Cincy is winning the division right now?
See, I go back and forth with it, but I think it's going to be Baltimore. Because Lamar is motivated now, and he has an upgraded wide receiver room. Odell Beckham Jr., Zay Flowers. Of course, he has Rashad Bateman, and then of course he has Mark Andrews. I really like what they did obviously, but I like what Cincinnati did too. I don't know, it's a toss up. I'm just leaning more towards Lamar. I'm leaning more towards Lamar right now. We'll see what happens throughout the rest of the summer, but as of now, I'm picking the Ravens. I think the AFC North sends 3 teams, like everyone thought the AFC West would do last year.
All right. That's a bold prediction.
I just got 2 messages to signal that we're okay because there's actual real Browns talk going on Dawg Chug. So MC, we're okay. We're not being held hostage or anything. Yeah. Eddie, that was awesome, man.
Yeah, Veto is now saying that they're not going to win the division. She says you're full of shit.
I might be. I could be very wrong. I've been wrong a lot before. I'll be wrong again. I'll also be right again.
Yeah.
It's just like in Get Rich or Die Trying.
It's kind of like GMs.
Right, when I'm wrong, I'm also right because there was a chance I could have been right. So therefore, I'm right.
Hell no, not the Ravens, Lysandra.
She's also coming after you. It's a tough day out there, but
the Bengals play in Kentucky, so that factors into why I picked
that's the thing about football, though. It's any given Sunday. So even though the Ravens are inferior and Lamar's going to fall apart, they still have a chance.
Eddie, what do you think about the early division games? I
love that because it sets the tone early. So you figure you have to go at least 3-3 in the division to that's usually how good divisions work: 3-3, 4-2.
Yeah,
you don't want to be that 2-4 or 1-5 or 0 for in the division, but it gets it out of the way early. Last year we saw Cincinnati struggle out the gate, so that could be something the Browns can take advantage of. The Steelers are shit. I hate them, so that should just be a rollover win. The Ravens game, get them all out of the way, and then you don't play them again until midway through the season when you do Pittsburgh and Baltimore back to back, and then Cincy to end it, which could be flex to a different time if it's playoff implications or division or whatever. But I love that you set the tone early. And you see where you have to go. You have to beat other teams outside of your division. And that starts with Tennessee and then obviously San Fran after that and so forth and so on. Yeah. But I love that. I wish it was like that with all the divisions.
Yeah.
That interplay each other the first few weeks. I do wish they didn't start at home as much. I wish they had more home games later, but they sort of do. I think it's 3 of their last 5 are at home or 2 of their last 5 or something. But I enjoyed that. I want to see what happens with them. Every team in the division got better this year, and especially in the draft. I feel they all got better. So it should be fun. Like I said, I think 3 teams from this division go to the playoffs. So I'm excited to see it right off the bat. Cincy, Pittsburgh, then I think it's Tennessee, and then
Yeah, I am too.
All right. Well, that was the most we've talked Browns ever. I think that was
Right.
like the
Good
month
football
of
coverage, man. Who would have thunk it?
the
On
month
Dawg
of
Chug.
March and April all combined was that much. So, wow, that's awesome. Thank you, Eddie, for making us actually not only be nonsense, because you gotta have a good balance, and we never do.
You do, yeah. No, that was beautiful.
All right, well, let's move on to our favorite game of the night, Spit Sip Chug. And Eddie, you've played this before.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite games, actually.
Thank you.
That is awesome.
There is a drinking game that I would like you guys to play on the air sometime.
I'm in.
And okay, you're in. I would probably come in for
I'm
this.
in.
Okay, and then I'm just gonna sign Ross up and share.
Sign him up. He's
this
in.
if you want. So I don't know if you ever heard. It might be called something different where it's called Drive Drunk Johnny. So you lay out 5 cards, and it's basically higher or lower. So you say, higher than that 6, or higher, and then lower, and then the middle card you always have to say Drive Drunk Johnny. Should you forget, if you forget it, or if you don't get right, so if you guess higher and it's lower, then you start over and you drink, and you have to keep going through until you get through all 5 cards.
Oh,
But
wow.
each time in the middle card, you have to say Drive Drunk Johnny. You can't
Wow.
slur it. You can't, have a missing word or anything.
Roger, you're fucked.
I am. I'm screwed. What day is that? I think I got.
That'll be a summer thing for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
We always go to a training camp together, so you have to come and we can play that afterwards. That would be fun.
Yeah,
We could do that.
man, you got to come up to training camp.
All right. Well, everyone knows Spit Sip Chug, so I'm not going to explain it. And if you are just tuning in for the first time, I'm sure you'll figure it out. It's not that complicated. So the first statement, Roger, we're going to start with you, and you're not allowed to sip. Everyone else can sip, but Roger's not allowed. You got to take a stance. And this one should be pretty easy, though, because, ultimately it's because we already discussed in detail the pros and cons. So here we go. The Browns should do whatever it takes to sign DeAndre Hopkins. Roger.
I've shrugged. I've never heard of a team saying, no, we should not inject more talent on the football team. And I believe in competition. You know what? You put the best guys you can get and that you can pay out on the field and say, all right, let's compete and see who walks away with the job. I'm all for the more competition, the more talent, the better. So.
All right. Sherry.
I'm going to sip on this one.
Nah, Jesus. The sippers.
See how annoying it is, Roger? Why are you sipping, Sherry?
Do you want my honest answer?
Sure.
We love honesty.
I don't care. I mean, if it happens, it happens. Let it happen. But I'm not going to get excited over business.
Okay.
She's in hockey mode.
I'm in hockey mood. Saturday starts. I got my Molson and Labatt in the fridge already, Roger.
Why did I do that?
Why?
Have they determined who they're playing yet?
Las Vegas.
Vegas.
Oh, wow. And then who's the favorite?
Vegas.
Shut up.
All right.
Panthers are the favorite.
I'll put a bet on your Panthers. How about that?
Okay.
That's probably a good bet.
I'm going to do that right now while you guys continue. Okay.
All
Eddie.
right, Eddie, here's the real
I'm
answer.
going to sip for a similar reason. Normally I would chug this, but I don't think it should be whatever it takes.
Oh, okay.
So like Sherry said, if they get him, great. Like I really hope they get him. I really hope they can reconnect Watson and Hopkins. But if they do not, I'm not going to be like, oh, damn, we're screwed. No, because I like the wide receiver room as is. But as you said, Roger, if we can inject more talent into that, that's better for everyone.
Yeah.
Because they say, happy wife, happy life, right? Well, the quarterback is sort of like the wife of the team. Happy quarterback, happy team,
Right.
winning and all this stuff. So you want to make him happy so that, we saw them go out and get Goodwin. They went and traded for Elijah Moore. They drafted Cedric Tillman. So then they could still, and then everyone would be like, oh, who's out if they get Hawkins? It would have to be DPJ, if I'm assuming, because I don't foresee a way that the room is Hopkins, DPJ, Cooper, Moore, Tillman, David Bell. Like that just I think it was you, Andy, that said a 4th round pick. That's probably accurate for him. That's probably and what happens in these type of situations is Browns fans don't want to give up talent. And DPJ has been a good player for us. He's not a number 2 in the NFL, but he is ascending upwards in the right direction. He'd be a good number 3. And if Elijah Moore were here or is here this year, and he can step up because we've seen them be connected a lot, him and Watson so far in the offseason, then that allows DPJ to be that 3rd option, just be there and be open and boom, everywhere. So I think we're good. I think the wide receiver room is good with or without Hopkins. It becomes way better with Hopkins, obviously.
Eddie, I agree with all. The only reason I say whatever it takes, I kind of got to think for D. Haslam, and it's Jimmy's money, so fuck it, spend it. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with that.
Yeah, not my money. I don't do shit. And as you said, Roger, the cap isn't real. Yes, make sure the $230 million investment is happy. That's exactly right. Because
he thinks the government
Good old D.
bathrooms we go in. He's a crazy
Staten Island girl.
By the way, Sherry, I did just put a bet on your Florida Panthers.
Thank you.
So you owe me $100 if they shit the
what
bed.
were they? Plus what?
I'll give you my Shih Tzu. How about that?
Deal. Plus 105.
Okay.
All right. So you guys have laid this out perfectly, and as worded, they have to do whatever it takes. No, they should not do whatever it takes. If he really wants to come here and he really wants to, make the Browns great and is willing to sign a team-friendly deal, then awesome. I will entertain that, but I am not going to go out there and pay him what he's worth. I believe DPJ's is a good player. He's worked his ass off for this team. He's been great. I would like to continue the journey with him. So I'm not going to be devastated if we don't get DeAndre Hopkins. I would like to add him, though. I think he does make this team better, obviously. So if you can get him in here, great. We are kind of in an all-in mode. So I guess that slightly influences my answer, but not enough that I want to pay him premium money. So I'm just going to spin on this one.
All right.
They could find money elsewhere by restructuring Myles Garrett's contract.
All right. We'll move on to statement number 2. Browns fans should be encouraged by what they're seeing in OTAs. Sherry.
No.
So you're spitting.
It's like bonding time. I wouldn't even consider that like practice. That's just like, hey, do you guys want to throw the ball around in shorts together? The weather's nice. Okay.
Hey, when Sherry does that screech, that was one of the sounds on my hearing test today.
But how would you know you didn't hear it?
That's the only one I heard.
Well, it does cut through.
So what,
All right,
what am I doing? Am I spitting?
Oh, yeah, you're spitting.
Okay. You know this.
Don't get it on Eddie.
No.
No. This way.
Oh,
Okay, the poodle is clean.
I'm going to chug on this, actually.
all right.
All right. Sipping. Nice sippers.
Just because the only thing we have right now. It's the time we see them. Obviously, there's not going to be a bunch of bad things. I mean, Deshaun Watson was picked off today or yesterday on a tip pass, so that's good for the defense. And then we obviously saw Watson, that is, throw bombs to Goodwin, hit Elijah Moore a bunch of times. So it's encouraging because that's all we have right now. We're finally seeing most of everyone together. Obviously, if you guys are not there, but then next week we get to see it. So it's encouraging just because what we have, and every team is experiencing. This is one of the times where every team still has a chance of winning the Super Bowl. And it starts like now. I mean, it started obviously a few weeks ago, but seeing it now, like, all right, cool, here's our road to it. We're going to invest a bunch of hours and a bunch of time and a bunch of money from now until hopefully January and February. So, yeah, I'm gonna chug again for that.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to start by saying I could care less about what actually happens on the field at OTAs. Like, watching those clips is meaningless to me as it could be. But the reason that I'm encouraged, and Eddie, you brought up a good point. It's all we have right now, and it's great that we're at least getting some Browns news. I mean, that's fun after a couple weeks of not really seeing anything from the Browns. But I think what is encouraging is it just feels like we're a normal team again. Like we don't have this shadow of allegations and people going on HBO and talking about things, and there isn't like outrage on Twitter that like this piece of shit's out there. Like it just kind of felt like a normal Browns team going through OTAs, and that to me is encouraging that we're actually kind of seeing things calm down a little bit. So I am going to chug on this one. Go Browns.
Oh, you know what? Man, I want to sip, but I'm not allowed to sip. I'm going to chug on it and give a sip answer.
Well, they didn't come on the Dawg Sip podcast.
Yeah.
You know what? Today I saw, was it Cam Joseph? And she had a picture of our third string quarterback, and one of the special moments is him doing mental reps, and I almost puked all over my fucking phone. He's not out there curing cancer. He's just standing there and mimicking the court. I think it gets a little inflated, but I'm going to say that you're looking at a guy who in my early 20s, I was a stay-at-home son bartender at night. And by day, I had nothing to do. And my mom lived on Clifton Boulevard. So when I wake up off her couch in the morning, I'd, eat some of her food. And I'd hop on the 86 and I'd take it all the way from Clifton and Bunce Road out to training camp every day. And I'd sit out there and I'd watch them. I'm not going to say encouraged. I think it's more excitement. I watched every one of them today. I watched every play, every throw, everything they had out there. And it gets me excited. For me, I'm more of a baseball guy during the summer. But if I'm tuning into anything to do with football or Browns football, it's stuff like that, what's going on at mini camp or training camp or OTAs or anything like that, and some highlights because it gets me excited. I don't know about – there's not much – the only things that get me encouraged is a W. That's the only things that get me fucking encouraged with the Browns. So,
Roger, have you cleared that excitement with your cardiologist?
I have.
Okay.
So, I don't know. Was that a spit, sip, or chug? I don't know.
I think it was a chug and spit.
And then I spit at the end.
You chug your beer and then spit it out.
Okay.
That's wasteful.
All right, spit and then chug your beer. No, like that. All right, I think we all went around, yeah? Well, it's time for statement number 3. And Sherry, you're going to love this one. The Guardians have been playing a little better. And now they're going to follow it up by winning 3 games this weekend against their 4-game series against Minnesota.
Okay. I haven't been following Minnesota. So I'm going to have to sip on this. They could win. They could lose. We'll find out. Stay tuned.
Right. That's what you tune in to the Dawg Chug for. Expert analysis like that. Sherry.
Right.
Thank you. Eddie, it's going to be hard to follow that up, but let's see you try.
Yeah, it is. The entire AL East, the home of my Boston Red Sox, who have lost 2 in a row to the Cincinnati Reds. They are, every team in that is better than every team in the AL Central. So the AL Central, I know a lot of Guardians fans are real upset right now, and woe is me, and we suck, and blah blah blah, all this other nonsense. And then I think they had 7 runs today or something, or 11 runs, or whatever the hell the number was. Everyone's excited. I'm just gonna chug because I just want to chug the beer, and also because I don't like the Twins really. I'd rather the Guardians beat the Twins, so I'm just gonna chug on that principle alone.
All right.
And don't be so down on the Guards. It's May. It's not even June yet. It's about to be June here, a little over an hour, but just relax.
Okay, so I've seen the Guardians. They've been actually making some better at bats. They're having better swings, which is encouraging, but that doesn't matter at all. We're also getting McKenzie back soon. Doesn't matter. It's June, and that's when this team starts heating up. So yes, they're gonna get June started by winning this series against the Twins and start climbing back into first place. You can take that to the bank.
Did they not do a similar thing last year? Am I misremembering?
Yeah, that's exactly what they did last year.
and then they went on like a hot run in the summer, and then made the play. Okay, I thought so. I didn't want to.
Everyone's freaking out, but this season literally is extraordinarily similar to last season.
I'm glad to see that you have your Guardians gear on now. I hope that's an homage.
Hell yeah. Homage. Everyone check it out. They're the best. Roger?
The best.
Andy, I want to agree with you so much because I want them to win this series, but I'm going to spit on it only because
sip answer. They might win 3.
No, because they only need to win 2 of them and to maintain a 500 on the road. I love for them to win 3 out of 4, but Minnesota right now is beating the Astros. Last time I saw it was 8-2. Minnesota's playing pretty good baseball. If we get to go into Minnesota and take 2 games, I think that right there is just the way they're playing baseball. That right there would be enough for me. They're hitting the ball like you said, and the reason is, and Andy, you're talking about the NL East, and right now in the NL and the AL East, right now in the AL Central, the Guardians are a team that are on the they're young and they're building. Where the Twins are pretty much all in. The White Sox are an older group or veteran ball players. The Guardians are ascending. You got guys like Quan. You got guys that go arbitration until 2024, another year before they're building up to where in a year or two, they're going to have records where they're at the end of the year, they're winning 96 games. Right now, they're not competing against the teams in the AL East as far as records and wins. But they're a team that won a division. They find themselves defending a division title right now when they really thought they'd be competing for one towards the end of this season going into next year. So they're going to get there. I don't like the AL East compare. Oh, the AL East. The Guardians are a young baseball team, and they'll get there. Those teams keep spending millions and millions. You know who's the best team in the AL East? The Baltimore Orioles.
Tampa Bay Rays are better, but okay. But they're also young. So like, how many?
I mean, only because over the duration because they're a young ball team, and as they're building, they're just getting better, just like the Guardians. In another year or two, they're going to be at the top of the AL East.
But how come it's always every year from the Guardians? Oh, they're a young team. I've heard it for 3 years now. Have they not grown up? Have the Guardians not grown up at all? Like, have they not have like the same roster for like the past 3 seasons?
Yeah, but they keep injecting younger talent into the roster and into the pitching rotation every day. They're getting younger and younger every day. And they're going to keep getting younger because Rosario is probably – I don't know what they're going to do, but they're going to get even younger by the trade deadline.
It does feel like the window is opening wider and wider over the next.
That's exactly what is happening for the Guardians and a team like the Orioles too. Yeah. They have an outfielder. They have 2 prospects. They wish they can get out there, and they can't put them out there because they're both hurt. And they picked up what's his name from the Yankees. Who the Yankees are paying $30 million this year to play for the Baltimore Orioles.
I hate both teams.
Yeah. So both clubs are young and ascending. So, yeah, I don't know where that leaves us.
All right.
Sherry, you're next.
I think Sherry already went. And sorry, Sherry, I started with you and I should have started with Eddie, but, we don't have –
I'm confused.
This show is not being very well produced today. Bear with us. Actually, we did just learn that we're not going live to our YouTube channel, unfortunately. So apologies for the confusion. Jacob says he's going to work on that tomorrow. Anyway, move on to statement number 4. The Miami Heat have no chance to defeat the Denver Nuggets to win the NBA championship. Eddie, we'll start with you.
Oh, I need a sound there.
Because everyone has a chance. They haven't had a chance against Milwaukee. They didn't have a chance against New York. They didn't have a chance against Boston, especially in Game 7 in Boston. So I don't think they win it, but they do have a chance. They absolutely have a chance. Jimmy Butler has played out of his mind in this playoffs. Vincent and Martin, Bam to an extent at certain points. They have a team, but Denver is just tough. Denver is tough. But they do have a chance. The Heat absolutely have a chance.
Okay. I am I'm going to actually just agree with Sandra here. mean, the Nuggets are amazing, and I don't think anyone really could beat them. So I'm just gonna spit on this one. No, I'm agreeing with this. Can't win. So chug.
Eddie, I forgot who is your baseball team?
The Red Sox.
The Red Sox. Okay. I wasn't sure 100%.
Saying that.
I thought so.
We've been struggling lately.
Yeah, because you're assholes.
Red Sox are hot.
No, it's not the fans are assholes. Absolutely. Yes.
That's all right. We'll come get you.
All right, Roger.
Yeah.
The statement is Miami has no chance against the Denver Nuggets.
I wish Lysandra was still here. You know what? No. You know what? The NBA failed the Denver Nuggets. They failed the NBA fan base this year by not promoting the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets are going to run away with the NBA championship. I don't think they expect it. I don't think the NBA wants the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals. I think I don't know. It just I just feel like they're getting shortchanged already, and it's not even leading up to it. Where if it were if it was Boston or anybody, the hype would just be ridiculous. And that's just from a NBA casual, pure casual. I'm a Cavaliers fan, but I'm just an NBA standby man nowadays. So
both teams play so well, like together. The depth, everyone just seems to play very cohesive with each other. But Denver is just like, my God, when you watch them, they can take it to a level.
I've only watched 2 Denver games, and I saw most of the Boston. I'd watch it, it'd be flipping through or on Twitter while I'm watching Boston, Miami. But Denver's something, man.
I bet a lot of bets on Denver, and it was very fun watching those games.
But like I said, I don't as a casual NBA fan, if you're not, I just don't know the Denver Nuggets. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Is that on me or is that on the NBA?
Well, I think it's a little of both. But Sherry, what do you think on this one?
I am not just casual, but I am a Cavaliers fan.
Yeah.
Even though I think, you know what? I'm going rogue. Let South Florida have a W, okay? We're going through a very hard time now. There's a cuckoo banana at the helm of the ship. Apparently, he wants to take over the country. They're boas and iguanas and eating everything. Nothing's eating them. Let South Florida get the W. We need it. Come on. It's sad. All the old people are dying from...
Well,
Sherry, what was in the energy drink that you had earlier?
Right. Hey.
I also went to the gym, so I'm all wound up on like good gym
pre-workout.
Whatever.
Okay.
No, this is post-workout. Like
I think you might put pre in there.
no.
All right.
Well, it is, yeah.
All right. Let's bring on the NBA expert herself to answer this question properly. And I doubt she's going to bring up the governor of Florida when she answers.
Probably not.
We'll see. Welcome back, Lysandra.
Hi. Excuse me. I was chugging actually behind the scenes there. I was the groupie backstage. I definitely feel that as long as Jamal Murray is hot, the Nuggets are unbeatable. They're large up front. And I just see their size and the way that they're well coached, the way that they mesh together. I mean, it's crazy. I think the Nuggets should have probably been going to the finals last year, but Murray was injured. And as soon as he got injured, the whole chemistry of the team just was off. So I think they're gonna handily beat the Heat. I think it's going to be a great series, and I think the Heat will put up a great fight because, playoff Jimmy Butler is ridiculous. And this other guy that I've never even heard of is kicking ass right now, Caleb Martin. So there's a lot going on with that, but I don't think that they have enough to beat the Nuggets. And the Nuggets have been resting. They are going to be fresh, and they're going to be ready. And the Heat have just come back from an exhausting series, almost shitting the bed,
Oof.
and giving up a 3-0 lead. They almost let it all go. And that was all off of just that one shot.
They didn't go, so fuck the Celtics.
I think that was a very mentally exhausting series for the Heat, because I think they had the Celtics. They had their foot on their throats, and they just totally let off the gas. And now I think they're going to be out of gas once they get to the finals.
All right. And while we have you, what can the Cavs do? Can they make some moves to get over the hump this off season and get better?
I was really disappointed with, I think, the coaching. The Nuggets are a young, or I'm sorry, the Cavs are a young team, and I feel like they were the better team versus the Knicks, but they were outcoached, and I don't think that Bickerstaff had the team mentally prepared to withstand like the hype of Madison Square Garden playoff basketball. And I definitely think that maybe a move should be made for another coach. You know what I mean? I think, what does Bickerstaff had about 3 or 4 years already?
I believe he's at 3 years.
Yeah.
And,
I mean,
he's already come out and swiftly denied any chance of moving on. Although obviously, if the right guy becomes available,
I don't know, man, you pick up Mitchell, you should have got the fuck out of the first round.
Yeah.
So, as far as moves in the off season, I think we need a little more strength over. I think, what is it, an Okoro's position? I don't know. I'm not a real fan of Okoro. I think we can do better in that particular position. I haven't been keeping track of free agency right now. I'm kind of in playoff basketball mode right now, but
fair enough.
Yeah, but
we'll bring you back on in the beginning of July and ask the similar question.
Yeah, because once the off season kind of happens, you'll start seeing a lot of changes happening. Once the finals is over, you'll start seeing those coaching changes. You're going to start seeing people getting fired and players going out on free agency. So I feel like the moves that the Cavs are going to make are really dependent on what's kind of going on.
It did seem like every coach that let their team down got fired except JB Bickerstaff.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me too, especially when coaches like Monty Williams, he just got freed up. Even Doc Rivers just got freed up, but I don't even know if I'd want Doc Rivers. He can't even close out a series. So
Monty Williams signed with the Pistons.
Yes, he did sign with the Pistons. So they gobbled him up quickly, and I think Nick Nurse is going to
Philly.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I were the Cavs, I would not want Doc Rivers at all.
No. I don't think that would be a good move. He has a really shitty track record with closing out series, apparently. There's just something going on. Good. There's like a mental disconnect that he's having with his teams, and he just can't get over that hump, it seems.
All right. Well, let's enjoy this series. I guess Cassandra's saying go feel free to put your money on the Nuggets because it's easy money.
It is easy money. Jokic is going to be...
But the odds aren't that good, so...
Well, hey, if it's a sure thing, then even if you're getting...
I don't know. That Heat Celtics series really messed up everybody's betting odds. So
Yes, it did.
I don't know. And who would have thought that the Nuggets were going to... I mean, everybody knew that they were good enough to make it to the finals, but I've been living in Denver long enough to remember the Nuggets being lame and nobody ever wanted to come here. And it was a big deal when Carmelo Anthony was here.
I had his Nuggets jersey.
Yeah, and then I think there was a few other good players. I mean, of course, there was Mutombo and all that, but post Mutombo, you had Kenyon Martin was another guy. So there was a lot going on, and the Nuggets had so many chances, and it was always blown. So I think Malone has them going on the right path.
The Lakers usually took them out. My Lakers usually took y'all out. So
How was
best.
It's like this year, so it evens out.
how is like the fan base reacted to getting to the finals? Like, being a Browns fan.
To me, it's really interesting seeing the excitement around the Nuggets because most of the Nuggets games weren't even broadcast out here due to Altitude Sports Network having an issue with Kroenke. So
Wow.
when Roger was talking about the lack of exposure that the Nuggets weren't even getting that exposure in their home market.
Wow.
So it's all over the news now, and people are talking about it, and it's great and it's dandy. And the only reason why any of the Nuggets fans are able to see the games is because they're now nationally broadcast, and that was the only time they were ever to see Nuggets games unless you were pirating. So, yeah, so it's pretty sad that as far as from a fan perspective, like how many years they've been kind of shut out of watching their own home team's games, and now they're wildly successful. People are excited about it. It's hype here. So yeah, hopefully they'll come up with a deal now that the Nuggets are about to, I think, win the finals. So
All
right. I know I'm rooting for the Nuggets.
I don't care who wins.
yeah, I'm not a Nuggets fan, but I don't dislike them either. I'm just new.
But I want Kevin Love to do well.
Yeah, I want Kevin Love to do well. So
I
I
like
got nothing against Kevin Love.
I like stories in sports, so I would like to see the story of Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra doing it again with not a Wade and Shaq and not Wade, Braun, and Bosch, but with Jimmy Butler. And
that would be an awesome story too, because Spoelstra used to be a camera dude and audiovisual for the Heat, and now he's like a multi-championship coach.
Yeah. Pat Riley 25% of NBA finals as either an executive, a coach, or a player.
That is a hell of a basketball guru.
Yeah.
Riley.
All right.
All right. Well, I think we're going to close this one. So thanks, Judge Sherry and Lysandra, for coming on and judging our nonsense take on DeAndre Hopkins and coming back to talk all things NBA, making the show fun and interesting. Thank you for our great guest, Eddie, for chugging 15 beers live and talking Browns. I know you didn't actually chug 15 beers, but you probably got close, right?
It was close.
Yeah.
We'll call it close.
Ross, we hope you're back next week, charged up to make the Dawg Chug great again. Special happy birthday shout out to Ed in Columbus's son, Kellen. And sorry, Ed, that your son took some of your attention away today. I know you hate that. Roger, thanks as always for making this happen. I love continuing to do this podcast with you so I can get your plumbing services. And I hope you get your hearing back very soon. And all the fans keep on chugging and go Browns.
Go Browns.
Oh, and my God, Donovan, we're all praying for you, man. We love you.
Salute.